Hey there, everybody. My name is George. I'm the founder here at Extension Ecom, and we actively support over 30 businesses on Amazon with their growth. And today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 mistakes I see both our clients and the over 100 plus businesses that I've audited this year make. So let's jump straight into it with number 1 is going to be no alt text. Now this relates to SEO. Let's start with where alt text is, what it is, etc. So alt text is going to appear behind A+ content. So here you can see A+ content. You have module 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I consistently see is people just don't fill in the alt text behind those modules. So here you can see an example of 1, 2, 3. You have up to 100 characters that you can add in here. And the real value is as the Amazon algorithm scans your listing, you're able to pick up on additional search terms that maybe you weren't indexing for from just the text within your listing. Or maybe it's text you wouldn't feel comfortable putting in the listing itself, such as Spanish misspellings or stuff you wouldn't want to have consumer facing, etc. And then finally, you can re-include key phrases that you want to further push to the algorithm that these are a high priority. So what that would look like here is you'd want to set up your alt text strands similar to this. As you can see, we're spreading a wide net to cover any and all terms that we would want to appear on and stuff that we wouldn't want to put on that detail page. And again, this just sets us up for success and allows us to appear more often organically. And I know you all want more organic sales. That's where the profit is. Next up is going to be not segmenting their ad campaigns properly. The first thing I see is people combine their branded and non-branded terms, and this just leads to a poor understanding of the data. So let's break down each. Branded is going to be somebody searching for a specific brand. So I just did a video series on Stella and Chewy's. A great way to think about it would be somebody searching for Stella and Chewy beef bone broth. That person is doing a branded search. They have very high intent, and they're likely to drive a high return on ad spend. Now, the other half of the business is going to be non-branded searches. So this is someone just searching generally beef bone broth for dogs. They may have never heard of you before, never seen your products. Maybe they've never purchased bone broth. They're going to be a much tougher sell. That's going to naturally have lower return on ad spend, but it's going to increase the quantity of consumers coming into your business. So having those two different targeting types segmented allows you to better understand, for branded, A, do people like us? Are they repeat buying? And typically what's our return there? And B, for non-branded, can we advertise our non-branded profitably? Do we need to fix our listing? Are we getting enough new shoppers in, etc.? Next up is going to be people combining different match types within their campaign. So this is the classic adding in an exact, a phrase, and a broad, all within one campaign. So going back to that beef bone broth example, you would have a beef bone broth exact, a beef bone broth phrase, and a beef bone broth broad. First of all, you're tripling up your targeting onto one term. And second of all, these match types behave very differently. When it comes to an exact match type, typically the CPC is much higher, and you have to be far more targeted because you need a stronger conversion rate in order to be efficient. With broad, typically the CPC is much lower. However, you have lower conversion rates because it's targeting broadly. With that campaign, you really want to be focused on adding in proper negations and controlling that bit as much as possible. Because these things behave completely different, you want to have them segmented out so you, as a PPC specialist or whoever the PPC specialist is, knows how to go in there and operate based on the type of term it is. Next up is going to be launching campaigns with new targets that are just the same as before. So it'll be the classic, hey, we want to scale spend. Let's go out, let's do some more keyword research. Let's identify some new terms. Let's go ahead and add them into a new campaign. Well, those terms are the exact same terms as campaign 1. So really what you're doing is now you're just spreading yourself across the same exact term. You're going to be competing and driving up your own CPC, and it's going to be confusing from an optimization standpoint. Let's say you have beef bone broth for dog exact in campaign 1 and beef bone broth for dog exact in campaign 2. Well, you can only really appear once on the same product. So if you're raising CPCs over here on campaign A and you're like, why is this not delivering? And it is delivering in campaign B, and then all of a sudden it shuts off on campaign B and now it's spending in campaign A, it becomes really difficult to understand which campaign is being prioritized by the algorithm, and it's difficult to understand how to scale your spend efficiently. So really what you want to do here is when you set up new campaigns, all new targets should not be within your console being advertised currently. And again, that just allows you to scale more effectively. Next up is going to be not using variations. So on the left-hand side, you can see eSpur. It's a xylitol brand. And on the right-hand side, you can see Health Garden. So these two are eSpur. This one is Health Garden. Now, eSpur has an 8-ounce and a 12-ounce xylitol on the Amazon platform. These two listings are not merged. They're completely separate listings. So let's think about this from a consumer experience standpoint and from an Amazon algorithm standpoint. So when it comes to a consumer experience standpoint, if they've never heard of you before and they really want a 12-ounce, but they click on your 8 and are unable to find it, if they cannot very, very quickly identify your 12-ounce, they're likely going to end up on a competitor and just buy from someone else. Secondly, when it comes to branded searches, right? What if they only want that 12-ounce and they can't find it? And they've searched and they've searched. The whole point of Amazon is speed and efficiency. So they're just going to go buy from somebody else. So it's a much improved customer experience to have these on the same listing. If someone comes to Health Garden, they can buy any quantity size they could ever want. And that's going to allow them to get onto that detail page, get what they need, add it to cart, and buy without having to worry. From an algorithm standpoint, this is beneficial because A, it's going to sum these reviews. So now this would be at 957 or so ratings. So it's a stronger listing, right? That's going to get them to, 4-figure review count much quicker. Secondly, let's say they wanted to add in 24-ounce. Well, they can just merge that brand new listing in and it automatically would have 957 ratings. So it's just stronger from a social proof standpoint. Secondly, the algorithm is looking at the product's sales velocity compared to competitors when it comes to rank. So when you combine these two together, now the algorithm's scanning and saying the sum of these two listings is X. Very easy to improve your rank when you add these in because you could 1.5x sales, 2x sales, 3x sales, and then you can, make a large leap. If you go from page 3 to page 2, that's a positive. If you go from page 2 to page 1, you're going to make a lot of extra cash. So really that's the value in using those variations, and there's a lot of ways to do this. You do scent variations, flavor variations, size variations, color variations. There's probably a variations I missed there, but you get the point, right? And every single variation you add typically is a positive. Now, there is some downsides here, and I think I've been rambling. Let me jump to the next slide. The downside is you have less real estate on Amazon. So you're not taking up as many little spots on the platform. But keep in mind, if your listing is on page 3 and you have 20 spots, it doesn't really matter, right? Because no one goes to page 3. If you're on page 4, page 5, page 6, right? Now, if you can consistently have multiple listings on page 1, very difficult to do, that would be the situation where you'd say this is a con. The other thing is if you have a very strong brand play and a lot of competitors are targeting you and you're just not able to take up enough real estate, then it might make sense to split it out just so you can cover your top of search. Next up is not building out strong supporting images. So here you can see eSpur again, it only has 2 images, and on the right we have this Blaze grill, which really just shows off some different pics of the grill. So I want to show you the value in adding strong images and what it does to drive conversions. So here's Lakanto, one of the biggest and best in the monk fruit sugar substitute space, right? We had eSpur, which is xylitol. This is also monk fruit, or this is also sugar substitute, which is called monk fruit. And here you can see all sweet, no sugar, a delicious alternative to ordinary baking. You have a bunch of cookies. I mean, I want to buy that right now, and I want to go to the store and buy a cookie after looking at this. Then you can see here, what are the benefits? What makes it unique? It has good quality branding. It's 0 net carbs, 0 calorie, keto friendly, 0 glycemic. And you can see that they follow this theme without the rest of their pictures. And really what that does is it just sells, right? It sells to what that consumer wants, what that consumer desires. It gives them the information they need and the trust they have in the listing to buy. Next up, when we're looking at a different portable gas grill here, You can see ultimate portability. You can see somebody within their demographic walking in an area that it is likely used in, which is a park of some sort or some sort of nature area, whatever you want to define that as. You can see it showing off the hood and calling out how many BTUs, how much square space, etc. And this is giving, again, it's showing the customer that exact product they want in the situation they want it in with the details they want to know most. And that's going to help improve the conversion rate there. Finally is going to be not tracking top sellers inventory. So you could make a big fuss about these, top 4 products having, 0 or none inventory. And again, I just mocked this up real quick. But they're really not moving that many units, and they're really just not a priority, right? These are C-tier ASINs. Now, one thing you really wouldn't want to miss is this guy right here with 750 recommended units to be added in. It's moving 650 units in a 30-day period, right? This is where all of these and then some. So this just comes down to basic prioritization of making sure your A tiers are just never out of stock, your B tiers are rarely out of stock, and your C tiers are like, these are nice to have, but we need to prioritize and make sure our top sellers are in stock. Otherwise, the entire thing is going to tank. So really, that is our top 5 mistakes that we see Amazon sellers making consistently when auditing and supporting our own businesses. And if you find yourself making these mistakes and you need a little bit of extra support, don't hesitate to click the link in the description below, and we can support you with your growth. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.